This weekend, Heritage Winnipeg is inviting Winnipeggers to explore the rich history of our city. Doors Open Winnipeg has been happening the last weekend of May since 2004. The event is meant to encourage people to discover heritage treasures, cultural institutions, and other buildings of interest not normally accessible to the public, all completely free of charge. The event is both entertaining and educational, attracting tourists and local residents, and increases our civic and community pride by proudly displaying Winnipeg's architecturally, culturally, and historically significant buildings. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studios to talk about Doors Open Winnipeg, I am joined by Cindy Tugwell, who is the Executive Director of Heritage Winnipeg. Hey, Cindy, great to have you back here in our Classic 107 studio.
Great to be here. Really great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Before we get to Doors Open Winnipeg, you've been with Heritage Winnipeg for many years. For you, what do you look forward to most about the last weekend of May every year when it comes to Doors Open?
The partnerships and the camaraderie in the communities, all the stewards of the dozens of buildings and tours that we showcase, whether it's cultural, historical, architectural, I think that we all come together and we all love our city and we all want to showcase the beautiful assets. So it's kind of an invigorating time for me to understand that what we're doing is very worthwhile.
Yeah, and just making those connections. Mm-hmm. When I think about Winnipeg's buildings and its history, I think of the phrase gateway to the West. It was the rail hub and third largest city in Canada pre-World War I. And all you have to do is take a walk down Main Street or walk through the Exchange District to see some of this old, fantastic architecture. Do you think we're losing some of that history due to fires and revitalization? And can you talk about how Heritage Winnipeg is helping to keep these buildings alive and keep them economically viable?
Well, that's a big question. I think it's it's very diverse and complicated, but I think by having them occupied, by having a lot of these treasures designated and protected and making it clear that we're to rehabilitate the buildings and not to demolish for infill. I know they're a great asset for affordable housing. In the Exchange District, a lot of the warehouses are being converted to rentals and condos. And I think that particularly when you look at the Exchange outside of the rest of the city, the built heritage is streetscape. So that's very important for our advocacy work and educational work to let people understand these aren't just buildings once a year to go through and be fascinated with history. They contribute immensely to the community with affordable housing, cultural groups, artists, IT in the Exchange. There's so many local businesses that thrive in a historic district like the Exchange, and tourism, of course.
Yeah, and just keeping those facades new. I worked for many years on the corner of Bannatyne and Main. I can't remember the name of the warehouse, but they completely renovated it, and it totally works on the north west side of Bannatyne and Main. I'm blanking on the warehouse, but yeah, they've completely remodeled.
Well, you mentioned how long I've been with Heritage Winnipeg. I've been with Heritage Winnipeg over 3 decades, and what I've seen is a lot of buildings. If we just look at the downtown and the Exchange included in the downtown, how many buildings were vacant 20, 25 years ago that are now a vibrant part of the community? The Royal Bank building, now the Culinary School for Red River,
yeah.
The pumping station that sat vacant for decades. When you look at all these successes now, the Bank of Montreal, Portage and Main, the Hudson's Bay is underway with rehabilitation. It's really wonderful to see because the greenest building is an existing building. So we also feel that this is a climate issue, that we should be reusing structures that already exist.
Yeah, totally. It sort of adds to the importance of Doors Open Winnipeg, right? I mean, why do you think it is so crucial to our history, not only for native Winnipeggers, but also new citizens to the city and new citizens to the country?
I just think in general, history is so important to know where you've been, where you are right now, and certainly where we're going. And when you look at the innovative ways that these buildings are being reused, for instance, the Culinary School or the pumping station, completely 180 different uses, it shows how important it is to continue not only the history of the building when it was built and telling the story of we were one of the fastest growing cities in the early 20th century and amazing entrepreneurs and the gateway to the West. There was really nothing. Winnipeg was the last stop before they went to the West. I think it's not just the history and the stories, but these buildings, these bricks and mortar buildings, tell about the people of Winnipeg and the things that we've accomplished. And so that is important to native Winnipeggers, and that is, I think, very critical to visitors. When the first thing I want to do when I visit any city, whether I'm going to live or visit and on a trip, is to learn the history.
Yeah, totally.
And see tangible, whether it's museums or different. We have a vast array of museums and converted churches and really neat spaces that, again, you won't get a full tour any other time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the Doors Open website, and it says more indoor events and tours are added every week. But briefly, can you talk about some of the more popular buildings that are visited each year?
Actually, a lot of buildings are popular. We look at, somebody says, are there certain ones that stick out? Yes, sometimes. The Legislative Building, the Vaughan Street Jail, Delnavert Museum, Government House, to meet, to go and enjoy some entertainment outside and see the architectural tour. Those are the obvious ones, but there's other obscure like Seven Oaks and Ross House Museum in West Kildonan that are amazing. And the Seven Oaks is the oldest building in Winnipeg. We have properties in St. Boniface that are very popular to the Anglophone community because people want to learn more about what's going on with the Francophone community. So again, and libraries that they're city-owned, provincial buildings. And organizations, for instance, like the Manitoba Genealogical Society, that's going to be doing a fundraising event during Doors Open. These are small organizations, sometimes that use 100% volunteers to run these societies. And so this is a way not only to learn about the history in the building and what goes on there, but to help support and know what some of these great organizations are doing for our city.
Mm-hmm. And there's both indoor and outdoor events planned, right? Can you talk about some of the outdoor tours that are going to be available and outdoor events?
Well, one of our most popular is the Exchange District Tour. And again, why I think his walking tours are important is we can't always get in for logistical reasons into each and every building. And so the walking tour will tell the story and the history of the city, and the buildings will be then included. So that is a wonderful one. We have the SR tour, and that's in East Kildonan, and again, trying to bring tours from everywhere in the city, whether it's downtown, the Exchange. We have one in West Kildonan, East Kildonan. We have one at the Forks. We have one leaving the Upper Fort Garry Park on Broadway and Main. So again, we really want to be diverse, and we want to show the history of all the parts of the city. There's even Karen House way out in Charleswood that I recommend people go check out. It's just an amazing home, and the story of how all these volunteers take care of these properties is the real amazing story.
Yeah. There's such a large cross-section of buildings in the city that are going to be open to the public. There's museums, the Mint, but the Ledge, City Hall, Government House, etc. When it comes to the tours, can you talk about who runs the tours and how are the tour guides picked? How does that work?
A lot of them are professional tour guides to operators, and so we pay them, so we help support local business, and we get them to sort of kick off their summer season, if you will, end of May. And I think these are people that are maybe novice historians that love history. We have an aviation, history of aviation museum presentation at the Millennium Center. Again, this is someone who volunteered for years at the Western Canada Aviation Museum and just has a love of history. Right. So again, it can be picking people from your own community, not just professionals. But I think Doors Open is a testament to helping support artists and tour operators and people out there to kick off the summer season. It's pretty important to them too.
Mm-hmm. I was at an event in Government House a number of weeks ago, and it's such an amazing building. I'm just thinking to have a tour of that with somebody who knows about the space would be remarkable.
I think most, this is our 21st year, and what we've learned over the years, the best tour is given by the stewards of the building. So we will support them. We will help augment the event with our own Doors Open Winnipeg volunteers. But I think it's really important to have the stewards of the building telling the stories, and they love to do it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of stories, one of the things that goes along with older buildings is myth and folklore and everything that surrounds them. I was reading Al Capone using the Exchange District during Prohibition, might have had a beer or two at the Woodbine Hotel. There's the 1919 general strike. And then, of course, there's the whole haunting, which buildings are haunted. Is that going to be part of Doors Open Winnipeg as well? Are the tour guides going to talk about some of this myth and lore
Yes.
behind the buildings?
Yes, they do. The Haunted History Tour sold out in 3 minutes. So if that's a testament to how much people love haunted stories. So that's one of our more popular ones. And certainly the Vaughan Street Jail goes into some different stories about the spirits in the buildings, how these buildings have been used and how they talk back years later. But I think a testament, we want to talk about the positive things too. I know a lot of people just love haunted tours, but there's so many buildings that are just amazing. We want to talk about more the positive stories and how these buildings contributed to the amazing history that Winnipeg has. For a medium-sized city, we have some of the best collection of built heritage in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. This year, there's also a couple of great contests happening as well. Can you talk about the social media contest that is happening?
I think that one is where we want people to take photographs of different sites that they've gone to, different tours they've gone on, and tell us why you love Doors Open. We really enjoy the feedback, and we take it to heart. If we plan it for the following year, there's some great positive advice there. But we want to know why Winnipeggers love their city, and so we get wonderful local prizes donated. So again, it's that partnership with local community groups, local businesses, sponsorships to help promote. I really feel that this event, with all the negative things going on all over the world, I just think this is our one weekend to really shine, feel proud about our city, and really feel like we're important.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's also the scavenger hunt. Can you tell us about the Golden Boy scavenger hunt?
That one's great for kids. They love that. So they have to pick 3 locations, find the Golden Boy, take a picture of it. And again, Kite and Caboodle donates every year these amazing toys for part of our package. And the kids I meet them, a lot of them, when they come to pick up the prizes. It's usually family orientated, and they absolutely love it. And it's just a way for us to make it a little bit more immersive. And have some fun at the venues, and even have a conversation, who is the Golden Boy?
Yeah, what that's all about. It all sounds just so great. And to be clear, Doors Open Winnipeg, which is happening this Saturday and Sunday, is completely free, right?
It's completely free, every event you go to, although we do encourage you, if you'd like to support with a donation, a museum or a church or some venue that is reaching out for fundraising, we encourage you to support it. We're also selling our Winnipeg 150 souvenir books at some of the choice locations. So really, it's just an opportunity for everybody to just get out, have a great time. It costs nothing, but learn about your city and even learn about some of these small businesses. So when friends or relatives come and visit, you're well versed about your city's history. But moreover, you can talk about some of these hidden gems that aren't so obvious, that really tell a story of why our city truly is so important.
Perfect. Where can people go to find out more details about tours and events for Doors Open?
Absolutely. Everything you need to know is at doorsopenwinnipeg.ca. There is no physical copy of a guide, so they have to, all the times are listed. Most of them you just go during those times, and we list the tours. Some are pre-registration.
Perfect. Cindy, this has been absolutely fantastic having you here talking about Doors Open this Saturday and Sunday. Thanks for making the time to stop by and talk to me today.
I had a great time. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.